Hello, my name is Stephen Thomas. Normally I would welcome you to Physics Can Be Fun, but today I'm welcoming you to Losing Fat Fast Can Be Fun, and you can feel fantastic while you do it. Now there's a lot of talk these days about carbohydrate-free diets, or you can eat as much protein and fat as you like but don't eat carbohydrates. So I thought I'd try this diet, and in 2 weeks I lost... See this? That's 500 grams of butter. I lost 12 of these. 12 of these. Can you imagine? You lose 12 of those in 2 weeks. And it was no problem. It was wonderful. I felt fantastic. So let me tell you what's behind this diet and how it works. Well, normally we live on carbohydrates for energy, and people sometimes think you can't live without carbohydrates. But under this diet you get rid of all carbohydrates, sugars, starches, whatsoever. So you must just have a working knowledge of which foods contain carbohydrates and which don't. But there is a good carbohydrate, and that is cellulose, which is your veggie matter. So anything with vegetables, not fruits, they've got sugar. All the vegetables you can eat: cabbage, carrots, tomatoes, all the things that go into a salad, onions and so on. So those are the good things. But then you can also eat all the protein you want and most of the fat that you want. But the idea is not to eat as much as you can. Let me tell you how this ketosis works. So you cut out on your day number 1, you cut out all your sugars, all your starches. No problem. No problem whatsoever with that. And then you find after 24 hours or a day and a half, you go into a state called ketosis. Now you won't even notice it. You won't feel bad or anything. But what happens is you lose your craving for sugar and starch. So sugar and starch are almost like an addiction. They're this white powder to which most people are addicted. They don't even realize that they cannot do without it. But actually, you can very easily do without it. And for 2 weeks, it's absolutely no sweat at all. So then once you get the sugar out of your system, your body actually loses its appetite. And that's the absolutely amazing fun part about ketosis. Now, if you're a diabetic, you could go into a coma. But if you're a normal person who can happily survive without sugar, you're going to do fine. So obviously, one must just check that you don't have a diabetes problem, because diabetics need the sugar, otherwise they will go into a coma. Now, that said, I find ketosis perfectly healthy. I feel fine. I feel great. Maybe other people might feel a few symptoms, but I certainly didn't. I could carry on with all normal activities. And by the way, I'm a keen cyclist. I like my exercise, but I want to tell you that exercise will not help you very much to lose weight. Forget about it. Forget about exercise as a means of losing weight. And to give you personal experience, I once cycled 1,700 kilometers in 3 weeks and put on weight. That was for 3 weeks. I cycled up to 10 hours a day and put on weight. So exercise is the absolute most inefficient, worst way of losing weight. You've got to do it through, and I believe, diet. And this is the simplest, most easy peasy, chicken squeezy, wonderful diet, and that is to just cut out carbohydrates. Now, if you're like me and you like your tea and coffee, well, you can swap to stevia. That's a sweetener that's fairly natural, doesn't taste that great, but you can survive. Or just cut all sugar out of your tea and coffee for 2 weeks. Not going to kill you. You're going to still keep hydrated, and that's wonderful. Now, let me give you further evidence of what happens. So now you're in ketosis, there's no sugar, your body turns on itself and it gobbles up all the fat. So the fuel which the body's now going to operate on is its own body fat. So that's why it just gets rid of this fat. Now, I don't know how it's possible for the body to take 12 500-gram chunks of body fat lard and get rid of it in 2 weeks. It sounds physically impossible, but I can just say that that's what happened to me, and it was pleasant. So what happens when you're in ketosis? Your body now turns on itself and it eats all the body fat. And you still feel great. The weight comes off. You must weigh yourself every day. That's so encouraging to see every day. Make a note of your weight, and it's wonderful to just see the kilograms piling off day by day if you stick to it. Now, what do you eat if you've cut out your sugars and starches? Well, I believe you should eat soups, stews, stir-fry, steaks, and salads as an example, and you can add stevia maybe as well. Soups, you're going to have all your normal soup greens, but cut out of the potatoes. Stews, the same thing. Maybe you could have a few baked beans. They are a little bit starchy, but minimum amount, or peas. Stir fries, you can have your fried fish, your steak. How hard is that? To have a lovely big chunk of steak or piece of fish or whatever you protein you want. Cheese you can have, or for snacks you have peanuts. Can you see that you're not denying yourself anything? And these proteins, fat, and vegetables fill you. They make you feel full. And it's the sugar and starch, which is like a drug. It's a drug. And we're all addicts of sugar and starch. The body just craves it after a while. And when you eat sugar and starch, you get hungrier and you want more and more. And you've just eaten some starchy meal. Oh, where's the chocolate? Or where's the soda drink or something? So it's like, and you can't stop. You just get the munchies when you're on sugar and starch. And so going into ketosis kills that completely. So your appetite is gone, but your body feels nice and full. So for example, I would have 2 eggs in the morning. I would fry some mushrooms, make an omelette, grate cheese onto it. So you've got this lovely fatty breakfast. And then you're having your tea, then maybe at tea time you have a handful or 2 of peanuts, and that kills the appetite again. Then for lunch you might have a salad, or you might have a lovely piece of fish fried, or you may have make yourself a lovely cabbage salad, grate the cabbage, cook a few hard-boiled eggs, a bit of onion, mayonnaise, mix it all up with a bit of mustard. Yum, yum. Or have yourself a Greek salad with all the goodies, the olives, the feta cheese, the tomatoes, onions, and it's delicious. So you can fill yourself with that. And then, say for supper, you could, if you haven't had, you could maybe have a stew, or you could have some more steak, or you could have a piece of chicken, or you could have your soup. You're not going to stint yourself, and so you're going to feel great. And this is how the diet progresses. So every day you're eating almost as much as you can, but try to make most of what you eat vegetable matter. So have your salads. I used to fill up a lot of, I'd make a lot of cabbage salad and then eat it, and that sort of took away if I was feeling slightly hungry at the time. And then also I find mixed veg, just these frozen mixed veg that you can buy. You throw it into the microwave with a chunk of butter and eat a lot of mixed veg, or put it in your stews and soups and so on. So this is actually a fantastically healthy diet. So while you are eating this, you're in fact, in a slight sense, I hate the word detoxing. I think detoxing is the biggest fad that you can get, but in a sense, because you're eating so many healthy foods, you are in a sense detoxing. Well, you're certainly detoxing from your addiction to sugar and starch. So the reason why I say sugar is such a problem is when God created sugar, He made it in a sugar cane. And it's like bamboo, and you've got to do so much work, and you've got to crunch on it, and then you get that little bit of sugar juice out. And so you've got to work really hard for your sugar, and that's the way it was intended. Or you've got to fight all hive of bees to get a little bit of honey. It was hard work to get sugar the way God created it. But now we've got bags of sugar and bags of white flour. So we're sitting in this way that God never intended, that we can get this instant high of sugar and starch. So that's the problem, the concentration of sugar and starch. And now we're so used to this concentration, especially in soda drinks. They are deadly. Please, folks, you should very seldom indulge in them. But let's say after you've been on this for 2 weeks, and let's say you've lost your 6 kilograms of pure fat. You think you're going to put it back on? No, you won't. From Then on, what I do is I slowly reintroduce starch. For example, I might eat butternuts and have a potato now and then, or maybe occasionally have a piece of cake and so on. But basically, I still carry on eating proteins and fats which suppress the appetite. I still carry on eating my salads. You can then reintroduce as much, fruit as you like. So you can have your apples in abundance, you can have your pears, and so you reintroduce carbohydrates, but you have them in limited amounts. And that is how, frankly, you don't have to keep on yo-yoing in your weight by just limiting it. I have bread, like, say, once or twice a week because, I'm an addict. I love bread. I love sugar. But it's not really a problem thereafter to limit the bread and don't have it too often. Cut out all those soda drinks. Cut out chocolates. Just when you go to the shops, never buy them. Cut out all those sweets and concentrated, unnatural, the way God never created them or intended them to be, and the way your body was never designed to have these concentrated globs of sugar thrown at you. So the body is certainly not suited to that. So then, by limiting your carbohydrates after you come off the 2-week diet, you're going to find that your weight stays off. So you won't have a problem. And if after, say, a couple of years you put that weight back on again, well, then you just dive straight back into ketosis. Have as much fun as I had in losing those kilograms again, and then have as much fun as I have in maintaining that weight loss. So, for all those people out there who struggle with weight, I sometimes just think, have you ever tried this ketosis? Do you realize what your problem is? You're addicted, like a crack addict, to sugar and starch. You love sugar and starch, and that is a terrible substance because once you've had it, it makes you hungry again. You've got to have more, 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 more. You get the munchies, you can't stop. Whereas if you cut it out, and I will say to you to this day that I still have, I still crave sugar. I still have, my biggest problem, if you can call it a problem, is just having 1 teaspoon of sugar in tea. It's not a problem. I like my tea. I like my coffee with 1 teaspoon. You retrain your taste buds to like your tea with 1 teaspoon or half a teaspoon. Try and have as little as possible, but it doesn't make any difference because now your weight is totally under control. So it's just a matter, a sense, the only pain might be slightly retraining your taste buds after that to enjoy tea and coffee and to enjoy more savory foods rather than sweet foods. So if I can say the thing that is probably the most deadliest killer of the 20th and 21st especially century is sugar. Pure sugar, that harmless looking substance, followed by its close cousin starch in its concentrated form, cakes, cookies. And we were not designed to have it in that such a concentrated form. And that is why there's such an obesity epidemic, there's such a diabetes epidemic, and frankly people have to go through these gastric bans, and they seem, they just seem so helpless when you watch these programs, Fat Doctor, and the drastic means that these people go to. And I just think to myself, maybe am I the only person who just enjoys this ketosis diet? Have people tried it? Oh, but we're going to get 1,000 voices that will confuse you and say ketosis is dangerous or it'll never work, you'll yo-yo and you'll put the weight back on. Please, I've tried it. It's a great fun diet. Oh, to watch the kilograms shed magically off. I agree, the physics would say that you can't lose that amount of fat in such a short period of time. You do. You're not starving. You feel great. You feel wonderful. And then afterwards, how easy it is to maintain with almost virtually no lifestyle change apart from cutting out all soda drinks except on rare occasions, cutting out your chocolates, your sweets, your cakes, your cookies. Please, you don't need those things in your life anymore. Or you're not forbidden from having them, but just have them in great moderation. And then you can control your weight and it doesn't yo-yo. So, there you go. How you can lose fat fast, and it can be fun while you're feeling fantastic.